Hi guys, how we doing? Yeah?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks. Feels like a really long time. First off, I want to say happy birthday to Cheryl. Yay! 21.
Yes.
Over and over and over again. Yeah. Got to take her out to Vegas, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So today is the very first day of our 10-week program. I call this class the real deal. We're not going over much technical information today. I really want to set you up for success and make sure that you are accessing and using the tools and mastering them so that you set your business up for success. I also want to dispel the myth that this is an easy job. It is not. All right. It will take your blood, sweat, and tears, but you will make bank if you stick with it. And it's kind of fun. Not always. So I kind of just want to talk about my experience a little bit to give you guys a better, more realistic idea of what this business is. It can be slow to start, so you really need to put a lot of energy into it when you first start, okay? You have 2 jobs right now, setting up your new business, 3, I guess, learning your business and actually conducting your business, okay? So we're going to go over the basic tools that you'll need over this 10-week course in order to procure a buyer or a listing, the presentations you're going to need, the systems and tools and methods that you're going to need to master in order to do your job. All right. We're also going to talk about mindset, client psychology, all of those things. But for now, let me tell you a little bit about my experience when I started off. Right. So I had a little bit of an unorthodox path into real estate. I came from escrow. So I had some built-in clientele. Okay. So I'd like to think, I don't know, but I think that I didn't have as hard of a time with lead generation, client development as a lot of you will probably experience, and is pretty normal. But I will still tell you, I worked my ass off to get those first few clients. Okay. I had those built-in couple. But, you know, your first few years in real estate, you're not just operating as a real estate agent. I mean, getting that business is going to be your primary focus, because if you don't get it, you have no business, right? And we still have to pay all of our fees and all of our dues. So what did I do? Let's talk about the different methods of obtaining business. Well, you have to talk to people in order to get a client, right? Doesn't matter how well you master what I teach you, okay? That will help you because you'll be confident and you'll know what you're talking about, and that will come across. And so that's going to help you. But if you're not starting those conversations and meeting those people, that's never going to happen. So how can we obtain clients? All right. So you have what I call old school methods, which are door knocking, cold calling, chasing expireds. While these methods work for some, they're not personally my favorite. Okay. I encourage you to try all methods. But you probably want to play into what suits you best. And you're not going to know that until you try all methods. All right. Why don't I think that these methods are the best? Well, cold calling. I mean, you have no idea if the person you're calling has time to talk, wants to talk, or has any interest in buying or selling real estate, right? Door knocking, same thing. Only if you live in a residential area that, you know, you're going to be in long-term, I do recommend just doing this as practice, if nothing else, for real estate conversations. This is typically not a fast way to obtain business, although there are exceptions, right? But you begin to create relationships with the people in your neighborhood, which will often turn into them giving you information, keeping you in mind, or even possibly referrals. You have to create value for these people and have real relationships, okay? So the key to success in real estate is you have to put your needs aside, okay? It's gonna come across if you are, you know, just after the business. You have to actually care about these people, and you need to create value for them. And this means providing them resources, referrals, you know, genuinely creating a relationship with them. Remember that a buyer or seller is engaging in one of the most important financial decisions typically they make in their life. And you need to respect it and treat it that way. And you need to put their needs above yours. And I promise you, if you care and you do the job properly, the money will come. I can't promise you how fast it will come, but it will come. Let's see, expired listings. All right, so expired listings are generally problematic, and I'll tell you why. It didn't sell. Why didn't it sell? What do you guys think? Ideas?
Overpriced.
Yeah, overpriced. Problems with the house. Seller is batshit crazy, or any combination thereof.
High price, always.
Yeah. So even if you get these listings, there is a much lower chance of successfully closing an escrow on these types of listings. Again, you don't have business. Take any you can get. So I'll tell you how I successfully created a client base. But again, there are ways outside of this, and you should try all of the methods, not just the ones that worked for me. Myself, I romance and stalk the shit out of every big listing agent in my entire office. I wanted to create value for them because what did I want from them? Well, I wanted their knowledge, but really I wanted their open houses. I wanted to sit their open houses that they weren't sitting. And I had a ton of competition for that. And in order to get their open houses, I had to earn their trust. How did I do that? Well, I went on Caravan and I made sure I saw every agent in my office new listings every single Tuesday. So I knew the house. So they saw me repeatedly. So they liked me. So they saw that I was supporting them, right? But most importantly is that I already knew the house. I also would come into the office every single day. Even if I had nothing to work on, I would read on my damn computer. I wanted to make sure, and I would pop around the office, that those big agents saw me in the office every single day. So they knew I was committed. I was plugged in. They didn't know I was reading or paying bills online. I mean, do what you can, be here. I would ask how their day was. If it was a warm relationship, I would ask if I could help them in any way, right? Unpaid. Flattery gets you everywhere, right? There's this fine balance in real estate with other agents as well as your clients. Being top of mind without being annoying. You're going to need to find that balance and master it. It's very important. Okay. So when I sat these open houses for other agents, I had to knock it out of the park, right? They're trusting me because if I fuck up, they could lose their listing, right? It could damage the relationship with the seller. So you have to keep that in mind and honor that. You also can't step out of line, right? You can't speak to that agent's client directly unless they tell you to. You are not there to try to get that client's business. You are there to try to pick up unrepresented buyers or other sellers that walk into that open house. And what does that mean? That means I need to get them to talk to me and feel comfortable. And I do that by myself, right? Everyone has a different style. I'm a little socially awkward, so I tend to be kind of nonchalant. I would bring bottled water and, good snacks with me. I'd offer people bottled water, particularly in summers when open houses are really busy also, right? So it'd be hot out. I'd offer water. Most people will say, hi, thank you. They'll talk to you a touch after that. I'd ask them things like, did they live in the neighborhood? Have they been, looking for very long? I'd ask them, if they'd like me to take them throughout the house, if my open house wasn't too busy. But if they seemed kind of standoffish, I would say, I'm here if you have any questions. And I'd give them any important highlights, things that they shouldn't miss. Sometimes I'd have a bedroom or an ADU, something like that. I want to call out to them. All I was waiting for me was the chance to talk to them when they came back. I needed them to ask me a question because my strength is my technical knowledge of real estate, right? And when they asked me a question, it was usually my time to shine. I'd knock it out of the park by giving them a very good answer. Usually a question that anyone asks of me, I follow up with other questions, right? And I'm displaying my knowledge then. Well, that depends on these factors. Are you talking about this or that? Okay, in this instance, it's this and that. And here's the difference between, the situations. I would take notes. It's very important. You must ask potential clients if they're working with another agent. You cannot violate an agency relationship. Okay. So, at the end of that, all of that was oh, I know a couple of homes. I'd love to pull some listings for you. Are you okay? May I send you some MLS listings, right? I'd get their email addresses, maybe also their phone numbers. I would generally jot down notes on a notebook I'd always have with me at open house. And I'm talking a notebook, guys. Computer does not work in our business. Why? We are in the field and on the move all the time. So you have to go old school. If you don't have a pen and a pad of paper with you at all times, you're not going to capture all of the information that you need in real time in the field, which is where we meet most of the people that we could be potential clients, right? So, people always ask me, oh, do I like electronic sign-ins at open houses? I do not. I do not, for this reason. I like to write notes a lot of times directly on my sign-in sheets and things like that. I also want to keep track of anyone with agents who seems particularly interested, because I want to give that information to the listing agent who's been so nice to give me this opportunity to sit their open house, right? Because I need to knock it out of the park with them. I need to support them in their objective as well. So if I'm not doing that, likelihood is I'm not going to stand out in the crowd of agents who's trying to get that open house from them. And then I hated Sunday nights. I hated them. So I'm waking up super early on Sunday morning. I'm putting my signs out, early in the morning, because let me tell you, almost getting hit by cars in nice clothing, you're going to be sweaty by the time you get to your open house. So go put that shit out early. Make sure you have all of your open house materials ready well in advance. I can't tell you how many times I ran out of goddamn tape or something went wrong. You don't want to have something go wrong, right? I mean, tape to put like the address signs on my open house signs. What's that?
Keep a go kit.
Yeah, keep a kit in the car, and we'll talk about like what a kit looks like. So I like to have soap in mine. I like to have paper towels. I keep toilet paper. Not shampoo, a dry shampoo. Well, it all depends. I mean, I'm definitely taking a shower after I put those open house signs out, so I shouldn't need the dry shampoo that day. This is my day. I look my best. It's my 10 out of 10 day, right? Because this is my time to shine. What else? I would generally bring a candle and or air freshener, because let me tell you, I've sat some open houses where I wasn't fortunate enough to see the house before, and it was stinky or there was something wrong with it. But you know what? This was how I was potentially getting business. So I need to do my best to make it a more pleasant experience, because I need those buyers to hang out and talk to me, right? You've got to do your homework on the area and the open houses that you're at also, because buyers who are potentially looking at that open house, they're going to know about the other stuff going on in that area. So great. I'm tired. I've been uncomfortable for hours because I'm so socially awkward, and I've had to be like all bright and shiny and all that. So I pick up my fucking signs. I'm super hungry at this point. If it's football season, I'm mad because my team probably lost. I didn't get to watch any of it, which I might be grateful for. Now I go home. My work is not done. These buyers have been to multiple open houses, right? I need to get to them first, and I need to knock it out of the park. So I'll tell you, for me, what I think is my number one secret. I'll preface that by saying, you do so much free work in this business, and that is normal, and that will never stop. And I, like to believe that is why we get paid so well when we do get paid for what we do. I would go home. I would pull every single listing that could potentially work. I would call the listing agents. I would do all of the research on it. I would act like these were the best buyer clients or seller clients I've ever had in my entire life. And that's how I treated them. I would write up this really impressive email, and I would spend hours sometimes on each email. All right. Not a, hi, it was really nice to meet you at my open house. No, I treated them like they were my client. Why? It gave me the opportunity to show how much more value I provided than other agents. I needed to do it that night, and I needed to do it perfectly. And, it would be pretty shitty because like 50% of them never respond to your email. But let me tell you, because I spent so much time on pulling all of that information and I gave it so much effort, I would get responses a lot of the time. And all I'm trying to do is secure some showings, because it is very rare, at least in my experience personally, that I got them out to showings. And if they bought, they didn't buy with me. All right. And so that's why I did everything to knock it out of the park that night. I would oftentimes on Sunday night be awake until 2 a.m. working. Sunday was my work day. Yes.
When you say you go and you go over this and that for your meeting, like when you're gathering information for them about what they're looking for in house.
Yeah. If they ask me any questions, you know, a lot of times like they'd ask about something and I try to highlight my knowledge by like bringing up a point. Oh, have you thought about this? And so I do research work for them. Whatever it was we discussed, I made sure I addressed that, right? I put my everything into it. Okay. Yes.
Let's say you're new to the game, you have a large client, they have a really short runway.
What does that mean? They have to do it quickly?
They have to do it quickly. What is the first step? The first thing you do to protect yourself going forward? Make sure that like if you, let's say you don't have the property like that you want to show them, or you need to reach out to other people to like find properties that suit them, but you don't want to let like potentially give that away.
I'm a little confused by the question. This is your buyer or seller?
This is buyer.
Okay, so on the MLS are all the listings.
So if they're working in a niche area like cannabis, and a lot of them
there's something called referral agreement, NDA. I mean, so it depends on your situation, but there are documents for that. Also, I mean, I don't typically work with them. I find them to be in poor taste, but a lot of agents work with them all the time and have a lot of success with them. There's a buyer representation agreement that binds the buyer contractually to working with you. And if they go outside of working with you or circumvent you in any way, they're still legally obligated to pay you the commission. I mean, that's kind of tricky because good luck finding that out. And also good luck getting business if the word is on the street that you're out there suing your clients, right? I worked with clients that I didn't particularly trust when I was early on in my business because I needed the client, right? I needed business. I worked on whatever I needed to. Let me tell you, I sat shitty lease listing open houses when I needed to in the beginning just to keep myself in practice, in motion, just meeting people. It was better than nothing, right? And that I was uncomfortable when I first started in my business interacting with the public a lot. So I just, you know, I just practice and practice and practice until it didn't bother me anymore, until it was very comfortable. And now I actually like open houses, right? But it's just different. But yeah, you can use different contracts for that. I mean, if you're talking about residential, it's not really like that. Commercial is more like that. Yes, Cheryl.
Christen, quick question. If someone comes into an open house and they say they're working with an agent, but they're not happy with the agent and they want to switch, and it's someone in the office, how would you handle that?
Oh man, if it's in the office, that's real.
I was gonna ask you that. I'm just asking.
I mean,
I don't care.
I try when I'm in a gray area, I operate by the golden rule, right? How would I want to be treated?
Right.
Because let me tell you, your reputation in real estate follows you around forever.
Right.
And if you're known as a client thief, you're not going to get open houses from any agent in this office. You're not going to get the best information to get your offers accepted. You will be punished for it. It will be talked about.
But if it's another office,
even if it's another office, same thing, but a little less. So here is where I am with that. I tell that potential client, well, I'd be happy to send you information, but before I could actually do anything with you, I would need to know for sure that you had contacted that agent and you've let them know that you're ending your relationship working with them professionally. And so that's where I stand with that.
Would you try to talk to the agent?
Hell no. No. That is not going to go well.
Even if it's at another office.
That's not going to go well. I'm hoping that they forget about that client, they move on, and they have no idea who that client bought with in the long run.
Okay.
It's not me. Wasn't me.
Okay.
Wasn't me. I mean, obviously, if someone asks me a direct question, I'm going to be honest, but no, I am not having any kind of conversation with that agent.
And also if they signed an exclusive.
Yeah, you need to find out if they signed a BRE. If they signed a contract with the other agent, they need to get that agent to release them from the contract before they can work with you. And that's very important. Why? Because they're contractually obligated to pay that agent the commission. Okay, so you put them in a position where they're going to have to pay double commission and they can be sued. Don't do that. Don't do that. And they're going to appreciate your honesty. And if they really want to work with you, they're going to work with the other agent to end that contractual relationship. Okay. But like I said, I don't think BREs are super common in higher end markets. I think they're much more common in lower end markets. Or when you're working with developer clients or people who shop around with a ton of agents, right? All right, so I want to touch a little more detail on some of the other methods I talked about real quick. Cold calling, right? The only way it's going to work is if you get super familiar with it. So Justin Jacobson teaches a lead generation class. He taught one earlier today. You need scripts that work for you. You need to practice them. You need to modify them, right? And you need to think of, something compelling to talk to these potential clients about, so that they'll talk to you. Same thing with door knocking. You need some kind of material, something you're going to leave with them. I used to go to the dollar store and get candy and stuff like that, and I'd have information about what's going on in the neighborhood or any community events. We just had the LA Marathon, and I remember the month before the LA Marathon, LA fucking shuts down because we can't drive anywhere. I would give out a little map with the road closures and things like that. I'm always trying to create value and something not real estate related or mildly real estate related, but to the benefit of the property owner, to give to them. And then as far as if you're going to chase expired listings, I think probably the best method there is you need to have a super robust marketing package. The property didn't sell, and it's probably because, like I said, the seller's crazy, their price is crazy, or there's something significantly wrong with the house. That could be layout, that could be, an issue with a repair. Don't know what that is. So you need to be compelling with that homeowner as to how and why you think you can get the job done when people previously couldn't. Right. So that's, those are some of the tools for those different methods. All right. So the last method of lead generation, well, that's not true. We have social media also, but I cannot tell you anything about that because I don't really engage with it, but Justin focuses on that a lot. Remember, Justin primarily is focusing on client development, marketing, lead gen, whereas I'm focusing more on the technical. I just like to have this class sort of set you guys up for success with what to expect and have a real conversation and look at all of the tools and remind you what we need to be mastering so that we can actually perform our duties or have any shot at, successfully making money. Social media, and then probably my favorite, and this is the only way I do lead gen now, but that's because I'm much later in my career and my business is referral only now. Is by personal relationship. And I still need to access new people in order to develop new personal relationships. And so a lot of times, I would center it around physical activity. So like a hiking group, a sports group, I did a bowling league, and that was very beneficial to me. I had key points were I wanted it to be fun, so it didn't feel like work for me. Okay. So I always chose something that interested me because I'm not going to be, what's the law of attraction? I'm not going to be the most attractive version of myself if I'm doing something I'm not interested in, right? So if I'm very physically active, I think I kind of stand out in sports. That's a good thing for me, which, that makes me feel good, which makes the people around me feel good. It makes it easier to create relationships. It attracts people to me. So I tried to focus on my strengths. And I think I got like 6 deals out of a bowling league in 1 year. I was kind of lucky. Number one, not a whole lot of women, a lot of middle-aged men there. So, I've got like a captive audience because here I am in my 20s, much more bright and shiny at that point, and having fun. So, nothing inappropriate. I don't.
When did you join the bowling?
When? Where?
Where?
Shadow, Koreatown. Yeah. Shadow Lanes. So nothing inappropriate. I have not had very many bad experiences with men in my career. I've had a couple, but not many. And that's because I'm very careful of how I present myself, of how I dress. and of making sure that I, keep it very professional. And I very sharply correct anyone who even touches in an area that is not professional. Of course I can have a personal relationship with them, but I've had a client I've been in escrow with that is like, that asked me if I found him attractive. And I was like, what? You know what? Let's keep this professional and let's get back to the conversation at hand. Never came up again, right? So I'm just like, what? Correct? No, reverse course, right? And so you can be polite. You don't have to make it an issue. You can still have a productive working relationship. You just have to be assertive about it, right? So yeah, nothing inappropriate, but it did not hurt that, I was a cute young girl, much cuter, with a bunch of middle-aged men that were bowling. And I had a ton of fun. And what I did was I just focused on having fun, getting to know those people, being very interested. I asked a lot of questions, make people feel good. It makes you feel good too. Just practice. It's about them. Eventually, because you are putting focus on them, they're going to put focus back on you, and they're going to ask you what you did. And again, everyone has a different method. My method is a little indirect, right? I would simply say, oh, I'm a real estate agent. I have been for blah, blah, blah years. I love what I do, right? I absolutely love what I do. And I'd leave it at that. And eventually, the next week, someone would be like, I've been thinking about buying a house. Can I ask you some questions? Yes, ma'am. That's why I'm here, right? But they don't know that that's why I'm there. And even I forgot that was why I was there. I would recommend staying away from tennis. There's a bunch of fucking real estate agents there, so you can have a lot of competition. And pickleball also. Yeah, I had like 6 agents in my pickleball class. But if you're into art, if you're, part of a Jewish community, gay community, whatever it is, get plugged in. Find new groups of people that you don't have access to regularly, you wouldn't otherwise meet, and plug in that way. Okay. Take a class, do something. You have to get out there, but make it fun. That way, if business doesn't result, you still had a great time. Okay. Just because business doesn't result immediately doesn't mean that you can't create relationships that don't develop into business in the future. All right, so that is pretty much all I know as far as business development, but pay attention. People do different niche things. They have unique ideas. Fucking steal them. Make them your own. Master them. It's got to feel right for you. Oh yeah, I mean, it's out there in the world. No shame in my game. What's that?
Picasso did it.
Yeah. I mean, how do you get better? How, you don't have to recreate the wheel, especially when you're starting out. It's a lot of new information. So just look at who's successful and emulate the parts that work for you. Play with it, right? All right, so kind of talked about the different methods, but even if you get an opportunity, at a client through using one of these methods, if you don't know what you're talking about, you're going to be very uncomfortable and it's going to show, right? Very unlikely that you're going to obtain the business. How can you fix that? Come to my fucking classes. Go to distance classes and do it all the time. Watch the classes. They're on YouTube until you're sick of the sound of my voice. Come back. Until you know what I'm going to say before I say it, come back. Until you know it, when someone asks you a question, you're going to fumble. Get sick of me. Annoy the shit out of me. Okay. If you're not annoying me, you're probably not, if you're not bugging your mentor, if you're not bugging me, if you're not bugging Justin, you're probably not going to make it through this program. Utilize it. Utilize the tools available to you. There is nothing like this available in the world. I do not hold back. I give you all of the information I've gathered over my entire career. My success is mutually tied to yours, as is Justin's, as is your mentors. We're here to help. Doesn't mean you shouldn't acknowledge being annoying. But I'll tell you, the successful students we've had have been the annoying ones.
Awesome.
It's the truth. If we're not hearing from you, you're not doing anything. Or if you're doing stuff, you're not doing it right. Okay, so let's talk about the tools now, right? So you should all know how to use all of these things by now. And if you don't, you need to get on it. MLS, and not just basic navigation. All right. Client dashboard from the MLS is a specific class. It's about how to save different types of searches for your client. Very, very important. I'm going to pull up the MLS right now and show you the resource. We're getting all of this information. And then the deep dive class. All right. So when I teach you comparative market analysis and things like that, we're going to use different tools that the MLS has available that will pull information in slightly different ways that are going to benefit you significantly, because it's going to affect the outcome, the accuracy of the outcome of the information that you have available to you. All right, so you log into the MLS. If you guys don't have your MLS login credentials, go see Brittany. Oh, you're way behind. Got to get in here. All right, so you'll log in. There's a mandatory MLS orientation that most of you have already taken. If you haven't, get on it, and I'll show you where you can access the listings for all the classes and about the MLS help desk. I'm also going to show you a useful little tool on the home page. Maybe, if it opens for me. All right. Do you see this little blue box down here? Oh, I need a screen share, huh? Guys at home, you can hear me and see this all right?
Yep.
Yep.
Great. Okay.
Yep.
Great, great, great.
Yeah.
This blue box down here, sorry, purple box, Guide Me. Guide Me is a fantastic tool. Okay, so it tells you how to modify what you see on your home screen, update your agent information when you pull listings, creating a new listing. So like when you enter a home you're selling, that is very complicated. I don't necessarily recommend that you practice this now, but when the time comes to create a new listing on the MLS, this is a resource tool for you. Yeah, most of this has to do with setting up open houses. Most of it has to do with listings that you have on here, okay? But edit a saved search, okay? You can save searches for buyers that meet certain criteria that are delivered to you or them in different ways. In real time, if you have a lot of listings that you might not want that. You might want them to go out to everyone at a given time each day, so that your client is not getting 20 emails a day, all right? But if not many listings, you know, meet their criteria, maybe you do want it in real time. For my higher end clients, particularly because I've been working with the same client pool for so long, they expect me not to send them anything that doesn't meet their criteria, and I should know their taste, right? My $10 million buyer is C-level. They don't have time to look at shit that doesn't work for them. How dare I, right? That's what I get paid for. I'm sorry, if you can't personally look at and preview something to make $250,000 from a client, wrong business. If you're not ready to work, wrong business. All right, so there's a method where I can set it up to where it comes to me, where I look at the listings and I select which ones I want forwarded onto them. Then I have clients who want to look at everything. And while I hate this method because I'm the real estate professional and they're going to send me a bunch of listings, I'm going to have to spend a ton of time explaining to them why, no, that doesn't work for you. No, you don't want this. I know it's cute and it's well priced. There's a reason for that. There's a method where you can set up a search. They can go in, they can like certain properties, and you guys can put notes in back and forth together. Very time consuming, but a lot of first time buyers prefer this method, particularly younger first time buyers. And you're only going to know this if you take Client Dashboard Deep Dive, but they're all called saved searches. So let's talk about where you can access the educational links. Help, training and help. The MLS support staff is some of the best I've ever come across. They have hours after 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and they have limited hours into the early afternoon, even Saturday and Sunday. There is not a question they do not have the answer to when it comes to the MLS. Okay, you've heard me say this joke before, maybe. Whoever trained that staff, I would like to make children with them. So classes and training, look, webinars, new member orientation, hands-on, online courses. If you don't know what classes you need, again, the client dashboard, okay, deep dive also. Deep dive is about the more advanced tools. Client dashboard is about all the different methods by which you can say buyer searches. And if you can't find them here, what can you do? Well, nah, you can call the help desk. Help, contact us. Help desk department, here you are. You guys should have this phone number saved in your phone, MLS help desk. The telephone number is 310-358-1833. I will copy this and put it in the chat box. How do I get to the chat box? Oh my. Oh, here you mean. Thank you. Also, if you ever have problems with your Supra, this is who you call. You guys know what a Supra is? It's an electronic lockbox. We don't commonly use them in this area or in higher end properties, but anywhere in the valley, a lot of newer construction, a lot of rental property, things that are vacant. Once you get into South Bay, they're used very commonly. And when you get an opportunity to do a showing and it's on Super Lockbox, you're going to need one. I believe you can get them same day if you go down to the MLS office. But if you don't have one, I'm not saying you need to get one now because there's a monthly fee and there's a cost for it, but at least familiarize yourself with the process of what it takes to get one in the case that you get a potential buyer lead and you need to go show a property that's on Super that same day. So you know what you need to do. Okay. They're connected to your phone, so you can't, like we used to borrow them from each other. And just like on that note, our area of real estate, our standards of business conduct are significantly higher than other areas. Our standard of knowledge level significantly higher than others. Even like the amount of inspections we do is standard. It seems aggressive to agents in other areas that are much more relaxed. I mean, I was showing property in South Bay. They're like, oh yeah, call the seller directly, set up a showing. And I was like, what the fuck? You want me to talk to your client? I would kill you if you spoke to my client. We don't do that here. All right, so MLS, everybody got that? You know where to look. If you didn't do the classes, do the classes. Practice, set up fake searches, see what it looks like, make sure it looks right. Also, a very, very good way for you to educate yourself is to set up searches for yourself in certain areas for market activity. When things go active under contract, pending, sold, so you can see the prices, you can see what falls out of escrow, all those sorts of things, what comes on the market, right? It's a very good way to educate yourself. Read everything when you're trying to educate yourself about listings in a certain area. All right, so we talked about the MLS. Now, zip forms. All right, zip forms is a state standardized library where all of our documents and contracts are found. It's a website within a website. It's located at car.org. That's the parent website. If you guys have not already logged into zip forms, you are behind and you will not be able to follow along or do the required readings prior to class for a lot of my classes. All right, so car.org. If you haven't done it already, you'll need to register for car.org. You'll need access access to something called your NRDS number. We call it the nerdy number. This is the only time you'll ever look for that number. It's fine. It has a little link right there. They know, telling us how to find it, where you enter like your license number and your email or your birthday or something like that. So you'll find this NRDS number. Great. You're registered for car.org. Great. And now you're going to follow the prompts that say transactions to get into the zip form section of the website. Okay, so transactions on the left. There's like 8 fucking steps to this process. It's not because it's like we don't use this every single day or it's super important for us, right? I don't know why it's so complicated, but it is. And then you'll see this box that says transactions. Okay, so people call this zip forms, car forms. Don't call it lone wolf. People will know that you're new. If you're really old school like me, it used to be called win forms. Okay, you're gonna hit access now. Now, if you have never accessed zip forms before, you're going to get a secondary registration screen here instead of a sign-in screen like I'm going to get. This secondary registration screen is very important because all of the information you enter here is going to end up at the very bottom of all of your documents and contracts. Okay, so it needs to be your business email, your business telephone, not the office. People call you. But the office address, and you need to make sure there are no typos here. Your legal name must be used for this registration, the one that shows on your license, all right, on your real estate license. Once you do the secondary registration, there should be a prompt to take a tutorial to learn how to use zip forms. Although, from what I understand, there's a glitch and that doesn't always happen. Yes?
There's also a guy named Ed. It's only CR number. You can actually get a private online class with him. We're here 2 years. He'll record it.
That's fantastic. So you can call CAR looking for Ed, who will give you a one-on-one lesson, Richard is saying, on how to use zip forms.
And you can record it and send my computer. I can always refer back to it.
And you can record it.
He'll record it.
He'll record it for you and send it to you so you can refer to it. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, Richard.
I have it in my computer if anybody wants to take a look at it.
Okay. Great. So hopefully that tutorial works out for you. If not, we have Ed. And I'll show you a third resource. There's a help section on zip forms as well. Why is zip forms so important? Well, in order to do any work, you'll need to use documents, contracts, disclosures. Work typically starts for us with some sort of contract, right? You cannot look at, let alone use or read any of these contracts or documents unless you pull the document into what's called a transaction file, okay? You can't just go into the library. You set up a transaction file, then you can pull documents in, then you can read them, then you can modify them, then you can print them, and then you can use them when it comes time to do the real work. So I'm going to sign in here. There's a few weird things about accessing and working with the form, so I'm going to go over those briefly. Eight steps. It's real streamlined getting in here, huh? I know you'll be getting ready to write your first offer. I remember when I did mine and I was so irritated because it took me like 10 minutes to get in to start on it. All right. So if you are a newer agent, you probably aren't going to have anything from mid-screen down, but from mid-screen up, it will look the same. Yours might look like this instead. There's a grid view and a list view. I like the grid view. Why? Because this is how it was when I started using it and I'm old. And I don't like change unless I'm forced to do it. I like things to be the same. Tell Apple to stop updating my apps. Can you tell them I don't like my touch screen? I accidentally go to the wrong website because I get animated and I start touching things. Let's see. So you see these, I have real files, right? And then I have this, I call it my dummy file. And I recommend that each of you have one of these.
Christen,
Okay? Yes.
we can't see this shared screen on Zoom, or at least I can't.
Okay. How about now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. You're welcome. Second. Thank you. All right. So I have what I call a dummy file. I call mine 123 Example Street. The reason for this is once you start modifying any documents, like you type an address or a name into any of them, it will change that information on all of the documents in the entire transaction. So you do not want to play around with or work outside of, the relevant work to a transaction in a real transaction file. Okay, so I've set up my dummy transaction file. And again, you need to take the tutorial, call Ed, and I'll show you the other resource of how to learn how to set these up. But once I do, only then can I pull documents into the transaction file. There's a documents tab here. On a new transaction, it's going to be empty. Clearly, you can see I use the hell out of this dummy file I have. You want to add a document, you come over here to this blue tab on the right that says all forms, and you can type in the name or acronym of the document that you're using here. For many of my classes, I require that you have read the documents we're going to cover in class. Okay. I require that you bring a printed copy to class so you can take notes right on it, or I highly recommend that you do so at least. It is on the second page of my syllabus, which is in the mentorship agreement. And if you don't have the updated copy of it, just email me and I will have my assistant send that over to you. Okay. As of the first of the year, we made the updated mentorship contract so that things are much clearer for people. And I'll have the acronyms in bold of what you need. So you can type them right in here. So if the acronym is RLA, you type in RLA, type in RLA, look what pops up here. If you hover over it, you can double check and you can see the same acronym there, right? You click on it, it will add it here. Only once you do that, it didn't add it for me because I already have one in here. Only once you add it in here, can you open it up and look at it. This won't happen for you, I don't think, because of a newer version. So now I can look. Fantastic, which means I can read. Now I need to print to bring to class. Well, you can't print completely blank documents. Sometimes the documents require that you have an address or client name in them. If you try to print them, a little box will pop up here saying, you must provide property address in order to print the document out. Okay, so it's not broken. You just need to put in basic information, right? Once you do that, you can hit print and print it out, okay? So I've shown you how to obtain the documents that you'll need for class. All right, so if that tutorial didn't pop up for you, or you need a refresher, or you wanna learn how to use advanced features on zip forms, once you're inside, you'll come up to this little question mark, you'll click on it, and you have this Learning Center and in-app guided help. Okay, I'm not going to click there. You guys can explore it. What I will tell you is that the electronic signature plugin functionality, you can actually connect this to your DocuSign account, or it has liquid ink. I would recommend DocuSign. It has glitches. So until you are super familiar with what those glitches are and the documents themselves and able to go through and figure out what is missing or what isn't correct, do not use it. This service auto tags signatures and dates for you, okay? But if they're not tagged correctly or you're missing signatures and dates, you're trusting that whatever documents you need are complete and signed. I mean, the most prevalent one I can think of is in an actual offer. So you write an offer and all of a sudden there's this optional field. It's for liquidated damages, mediation, arbitration. Clients do not have to sign to agree to do this, but most people want to. And so if you're sending out an offer where it's not signed, well, the listing agent knows, because they're more experienced usually, That's either, you're either new, that's a glitch and an error, and you didn't know to like, you don't know about it. So they know of your inexperience right away, or they think client's difficult. Also, even if your offer is beautiful and they want to accept it, likelihood is the seller wants those initials, so you're going to get a counter back. The counter is going to say buyers to initial those paragraphs. So be wary of electronic signature plugins at first, okay? Also, signature lines with entities are funny with electronic signature plugins because your seller or buyer can be the ABC 123 trust, but that is not who signs on behalf of a trust or an LLC or any other entity. A natural person does. So you actually, even though in zip forms, you'll be entering ABC 123 trust on the signature lines, the signing service should have the authoritative signer, you know, that acts on behalf of that entity listed, right? So if I am the owner of the ABC 123 trust, I'm still signing as Christen Tull. Okay, so those are just things to watch out for. All right, so we've gone over MLS, we've gone over zip forms. What's our other tool, guys? KW command. Sorry, I didn't see your hand. I've got this light in my eyeball.
For the zip form, you said sometimes it won't print if we don't put an address in. Is there a recommended address to put in? Like
123 Example Street, your home address, something made up. Yeah, make it very clear so you never get confused, right? Make it very clear that this is dummy practice documents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I like that one.
You know, 123 any street. You know, sometimes I'll, like, I have multiple dummy files. 123 Baller Street, like need some money street. You know, what did I do to myself street? All right, so let's see, KW command. So we have KW command classes. We're a big company. You can even Google what you need to do on KW command. Most of the time you'll find something. We also have this fantastic man in the office named Blake. Do not go directly to him. Do not throw me under the bus. But if you really need some help with stuff that's more advanced on KW command, he's really nice. He used to be our specialist. He used to work for the office, but he no longer does, which is why we have to, you know, so sparingly utilize him for help with KW command, but anything really advanced, he can help us out with. Let me do screen share here. All right, so I sign into my KW command account. You have a free DocuSign account, the Real Estate Professional version, through your KW command account. If you have not already activated that, you should do so. It'll save you, I don't know, I don't even know how much it costs anymore, $600 to $800 a year or something like that. It has tools available on it for use that are beyond the standard DocuSign accounts, okay, like check boxes and things like that you'll need for the kinds of documents that we have. So once you're in KW command, you will see your name and a circle up here. You click here. This is where you can set up that free DocuSign account. You go to settings, okay? And the very first thing that pops up is a link to set up that free DocuSign account. If it ever pops up. Here you are. Here's the DocuSign. So if you haven't set that up also. And there are tutorials on DocuSign. There's also YouTube that's helpful with it. You need to know how to use DocuSign inside and outside. DocuSign's fun and pretty easy to use. Play with it, have fun. All right, so back to KW command. At a bare minimum, like this is some pretty impressive things. I admittedly don't use them. You know, I had all my templates and everything set up before KW Command existed within Keller Williams. So at a minimum, in order to operate your business, get paid, and learn what you need to from myself and Justin, you need to know how to use contacts, okay? You need to know how to use opportunities. This is where you do your transaction management. Okay? That means, you know, submit all of your files of documents and contracts to the office, and also where you submit for your commission. You all want to get paid at the end of the day, right? No agent is exempt from using this, okay, myself included. We have to use contacts in order to set up an opportunity, which is why you have to you need to know how to use contacts. And if you're in the mentorship program, your very first deal, you are obligated to do your own transaction coordination work. So you need to know how to use opportunities, set up the transaction file, and upload all the documents that you'll need there. This is also where the checklists for what documents you need in any type of given transaction are located. All right. And then designs. This one is probably a little less important, but it's important nonetheless. So while we have an amazing marketing department, we have over 700 agents in this office. You might not be able to get what you need in the time frame that you need it by from the marketing department. So if you know how to use the design section, you can create whatever you need yourself. I prefer Canva a little bit, but that's because, you know, I knew it before. But again, if I knew how to use these tools, what I've seen, it's pretty impressive. The reason you need to know designs is because I teach the listing presentation and buyer consult out of here where everyone has access to it. And as a new agent, you will 100% need and want to modify the hell out of the templates for these two presentations here. And eventually you may decide to use a different program entirely, but I highly recommend sticking to what's here because you have access to it, because it's free, because I'm going to go over it with you and you'll know how to use it. And this is something that is going to evolve throughout your career, but I get so frustrated with mentees who are like, Kristen, I need help. I have a listing appointment. And I'm like, great, do you have a listing presentation? No. You've been here for 4 months. Why do you not have a listing presentation? No excuse. How do you expect to get a listing without a listing presentation package? How do you expect to procure business if you haven't practiced and you're not comfortable providing a listing presentation? If you don't know the key components that go into it, right? Particularly as a newer agent, a listing presentation is meant to kind of keep you on course so that you know what you need to cover. Same thing with buyer consult. And we'll talk about these things more in those classes, in the listing presentation class, in the buyer consult class, and what else goes into them. All right. But in order to make these things, what do we need? We need headshot. We need a professionally written bio. You know, so you need those things for your business cards, for any type of marketing you're doing, including print marketing. Okay, so if you haven't done that, you're behind and you need to get started on it right away. All right. Okay, so I've shown you what you need in KW Command. All right, so those are the basic tools you need to absolutely master in order to have any shot at business. Unless it's like built-in friend or family, and even then you're going to struggle, right? I would rather be able to focus on knocking it out of the park with my clients so they become a referral source and repeat business in the future than struggle to learn the things that I should have had prepared, right? If I get an opportunity. Set yourself up for success. This is not an easy job. Even those of you who have good fortune, it will take a couple of years before it's consistent, okay? There are two parts to this job. It's the effort you put into it, and it's the luck portion, right? And some of us have an easier time with parts of it than others. And I'll tell you this right now, typically those who are good at the technical end are not good at the personal end, the marketing, business development. People who are good at the marketing, business development are typically not good at the technical end, and they are both just as important. I don't care how many leads or clients you get. If you can't fucking successfully close the deal and make them feel good about it throughout the process, that, you know, first off, it's likely not closing. But secondly, even if it closes, if they don't feel good, that client's not coming back to you. They're not telling people. You need that to happen, or else you're going to have those 3 jobs forever, right? You can get rid of the active business development at some point in your career if you do a good enough job on the business that you conduct, right? You need this to get easier over time. And that is what should be happening if you're a successful agent. Does anyone have any questions for me? Yeah, it is Christen, CHRISTEN at lanativehomes.com. If you are not in the mentorship program, I do not get paid. So it's a favor if I respond to you, and I will, but you'd better be really fucking nice, because I'm tired and I have over 250 students plus my own real estate business. Okay. So those of you who call me on Saturday night at 9 p.m. and are not in mentorship, shame on you. At least like call me during a normal time. And also guys, because our program is so big, you need to talk to your mentors before you reach out to me, right? I'm happy to help and provide a second opinion. I don't always know the answer. Your mentor won't always know the answer. And I am your built-in backup mentor, but I need to keep myself available for the times when your mentors are not available to you. So please follow the procedures of reaching out to your mentor and then reaching out to me. All right. Yes. There should be a sign-in, is there not?
Oh, Brittany was sitting here and wrote down names. In my...
There's a sign-in sheet right here.
Oh,
so if you're in the mentorship program, you can sign in there. And if you're on Zoom, we auto capture your attendance. All right. Anyone else have any questions?
Hey, Christen.
Yes.
Is first class of the new series?
Yes.
Okay. And does the series last?
What's that?
How long does the series last?
10 weeks. It's 2 classes a week, Wednesday and Thursday for the first 6 weeks, and then 1 class a week on Thursdays for the last 4 weeks. Then I take 2 weeks off. But again, all of these classes, they're all on YouTube. They're usually on YouTube within 24 hours of me finishing teaching class, and you can access them there. And there are multiple versions of them. So this is the first time I'm teaching this class, but every other class in our new format has already been recorded and is on YouTube now. If there's ever one missing, Serena is the one responsible for uploading those to YouTube. You can reach out to her directly and say, hey, where is this? Because that's all I'm going to do if you reach out to me. Let's see what's in chat box here. So yeah, guys, it's a hustle. You need to work hard. You need to get to know the market. You need to get to know all of those programs really well. And yeah, you need to put the effort and the time in. Romancing other agents, romancing clients, getting your business set up, having your presentations, knowing the tools. But you have us here. We're happy to help. Yes, Richard.
How many classes down the line before you get to the listing presentation?
I don't know. I think that listing presentation is kind of like in the middle, but it's already on the calendar. Yeah. So you can look on the KWBH virtual calendar, and then there is a recorded version of the listing presentation on YouTube. There's several of them. Even in the new format, that class has not changed. Huh?
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, all you have to do is search my name on YouTube. I'm sorry, I didn't finish my email address, did I?
Yes,
I did? Okay. Yeah.
If you watch them, the new ones pop up on the iPhone.
Yeah, you can subscribe to it, and when a new one is posted, it will notify you. Yeah, it will notify you. But all you have to do is search my name. For Justin's, you need to email him and ask him for them directly, and that's because it's his proprietary. It's proprietary, so he doesn't post them on YouTube. Right? Okay. Unless there are any other questions. No. I hope you have a fantastic week. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 12:30. You're welcome.
Thanks, Christen.
You're welcome. Bye.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.